Hey guys, thanks for watching, and now let's discuss what does critical path method means and how to calculate the duration of the project. So the CPM or critical path method is the method project managers use to map out all ins and outs of project. It's a simple technique, but is powerful for analyzing, plotting, and scheduling large projects. If it's identified, you know at least amount of time possible to complete the project. Having a critical path is one way you can illustrate the most important tasks in project. Based on critical path, you can determine the total time and effort required to complete a project. It also helps you to get the overview of tasks and dependencies that cannot be delayed if you want to finish the project on time. There are four factors you should consider when understanding the critical path. The first one is estimations. The second one, task dependencies, milestones, and critical deadlines. In timeline, the critical path is often visualized as a sequence of dependent parts. Also, critical path includes slack and flow time, known as temporary interval or free time that appears naturally whenever there is lack of activities. To better understand what is that, just imagine that you want to bake a cake. We need to follow a recipe to make sure we have a right end product, right? So first, we need to buy ingredients, fill the pan to bake, and then let it cool for half an hour, right? After, you ice and decorate the cake. To ensure quality, you mix the right amount of sugar, flour, butter, etc. And of course, we can ice and decorate without having baked a cake, right? So here you can see that the critical path is made up of a number of activities or steps that are essential to making a right cake. You can notice that some of steps cannot be started before others gets finished, and therefore one task is dependent on another, and determining the critical path requires a clear understanding of the project objectives and the flow of tasks. The CPM or critical path method is simply a connection between scope, requirements, and time. The CPM or critical path method is the sequence of scheduled activities that determines the duration of the project. It consists of the longest sequence of activities from project start to finish that must be completed to ensure the project is finished by a certain time. First of all, we need to understand what kind of activities do we have, right? So for that, we need to prepare a WBS or work breakdown structure that illustrates a whole picture, all of the work that need to be accomplished. We will not talk about WBS right now because we have already discussed it in the previous videos that you can find on my channel, but we need it to understand what we have to do and a logical sequence of these activities. Therefore, first, we need to create a WBS or work breakdown structure, which represent a decomposition of the big tasks on elements into small, manageable pieces. After, when we have a set of activities or tasks that needs to be executed, we have to think of logical relationship between them. So there are four types of the logical relationships between tasks or between activities. The first one is finish start. Means that an activity should be finalized before next will be started. We have to complete activity A to start activity B. The next one is start to start relationship. Means that a set of activities must be started in parallel. Activity C and D will start in the same time. Finish to finish relationship means that a set of activities must be finished in the same time. Activity E and activity F will be finished in the same time. And one more type of relationship is start to finish, which is rarely used. Therefore, I didn't mention it here, but it means that an activity must start before the successor can finish. So at this point of time, what we know? We know all activities that need to be accomplished, and also we know how these are related to each other. Do you remember that I have mentioned that important step to determine critical path is to have estimated activities after creating a WBS or work breakdown structure? So for example, imagine that we have a set of activities, their relationship, and estimations. So here you can see activities D, A, B, C, F, G, and so on. We already know how these activities are related. For example, activity D will be started immediately. Activity A will be started after activity D will be finished. So D will be a predecessor of the activity A. F will be started after A will be finished. Activity E will be started after also D will be finished. Activity G will be started after both activities F and E will be finished. B will be started after Y will be finished. H will be started after G will be finished. And C will be started after H will be finished. And after activity C and B, a project will be finished. So it's just our situation. Now, we can represent all logical relations as a network diagram to visualize what we have to do, how these activities are related, and calculate, and most important, to calculate a project duration. So what we have here, according to definition, a project is a temporary endeavor with a beginning and the end. So therefore, we have a start and finish dates. D, A, B, C, and so on are activities that must be performed. The relationship between activities is represented as arrows to indicate the order of these activities or logical relationships. As we have a network diagram with all logical relations, we can indicate the duration of each activity. Estimation technique topic you also can find on my channel, where I presented 4 techniques to estimate duration of activity. When we know the duration of each activity and logical relationship, we can calculate the duration of the whole project. So first of all, we need to determine a critical path. For that, we need to look how much path do we have for that logical relationship. So let's see. The first path is activities D, A, F, G, H, C. And if we will sum all of these activities, we will get a result of 25 days, for example. How we calculate it? So we know that activity D is started immediately, right? So the early start of the activity D is on day 0, and the duration of this activity is 4 days, and therefore early finish of the activity D is day 4. Activity A is started after activity D is finished, and therefore early start for the activity A is day 4. And if the duration of that activity is 6 days, so then late start of the activity A will be plus 6 or 10 days. Early start for the activity F is day 10 because it goes after A is completed. And the early finish of the activity F is 13 days or day 13 because activity F, has a 3 days duration and so on. As a result, we can see that this path of related activities gives us a result of 25 days. The next path is D, E, G, H, C. The same idea is here, and as a result, we can see that this path of related activities gives us a result of 27 days. And another one is activities D, E, B. The same idea is here, and as a result, we can see that this path of related activities gives us a result of 23 days. And now, according to definition of the critical path method represent the longest duration path for the network diagram. And therefore, the critical path of our project will be activities D, E, G, H, C. So it's our project duration deadline, 27 days. It's the longest path. As of now, we can declare that if we will perform activities according to our plan, we will finalize a project in 27 days. Next, we need to perform a backward path to see if we have some free time between activities and where there is a possibility to late without impact on our final deadline of 27 days. So for that, we need to perform the same calculations, but now we will go back from the final deadline of the project. So we know that the duration of the project is 27 days, right? So first of all, we need to go back for the critical path and therefore the late finish of the project and of the activity C is 27 days. If the duration of the activity C is 1 day, the early finish of this activity will be -1 or 26 day. Late finish for the activity H is day 26. And if the duration will be 7 days, early finish will be 26 minus 7, so on day 19. And next we are going on critical path till activity D. And here you will find that activity D cannot have a free time or reserve. So it always will be 0 because this path represent the duration of the project. So each activity which lays on critical path must finish on their deadlines. Otherwise, deadline of the project will be changed, and therefore we will be behind the schedule. When we'll calculate backward path, you will see that we have some free time between activities D and A of 2 days, because early finish for activity A is day 6, but the late finish of the activity D, which is on critical path, is day 4. So it means that we can late to start activity A with 2 days and no impact we will have on project final deadline. But if we will late at least on 3 days, we must recalculate critical path because definitely it will be changed. That's why it's very important to know where can we have a free time. Between activities E and B, we have 4 days reserve. That means that we can late to execute activity B for 4 days, and a project will be finalized still on time, on 27 days. But you don't need to draw this diagram, because there are a lot of tools that will do it for you automatically. I just draw it to show you what is in the background, to understand how these calculations are performed by these tools, and how important it is to know critical path. Tasks which are on critical path calls critical tasks. And here you can see red lines, which actually are on critical path, and therefore are critical tasks. And if the duration of any of critical tasks will be changed, the duration of the whole project will be changed. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you on my channel. Thank you.